This is the kingdom of Qingyuan. The Eastern Wasteland. That's what everyone called it. Now two clans were fighting there. One of them wanted to take their lands. It was the greatest blood demon clan. The other clan, called the Sword Clan, didn't want to give up their land. They said times have changed, and these lands will belong to them. But the disciples told him not to talk nonsense. They had already reported everything to their brother called Hua. And when he comes, none of you will be able to escape and hide. What? Among the top 10 apprentices in the clan, is there someone called Hua? I don't remember him. He's not even in the top 10. But he dares to fight our clan? Which is in the top 5 and strongest. The guy laughed at him and told his brother to collect your corpses when he got here. Storm, wind, lightning. Hua's brother flies up in flames. He saves his brothers and runs off to rendezvous with the demon. The enemies didn't understand what had happened, but then they saw the brother who had dared to come to them. They asked him for death, and with all their might they struck him with a huge bloody wave. But the brother easily repulsed it. What had happened? Was it all over? The brother approached the victims and asked if they were all right. They thanked him for his help. Brother Hua asked them why they had done anything. If he hadn't, it could have ended very badly. This will be a lesson for us. But these demons are truly evil incarnate. They've sacrificed the blood of hundreds of thousands of peaceful monks from our city. This literally just happened to perfect the pearl of their bloody soul. He was very frightened and tense and sadly could not sit still. My brother replied that the youth, don't let that confuse you. Told them to do their best and live an ordinary life. This is the way of perfection of my generation. His reply was that he was not quite understood. Unfortunately, the guy didn't completely take out his enemy and was left with a bloody pearl from which the demon began to resurrect itself. He began to say that they would all die. It was the elder of the Moyun clan, Xie Yun. A 7th-level cultivator of the immortal sky dwellers. They were also called the Purple Palace. It was time to put an end to it. He didn't understand how an ordinary guy he didn't know could repel his attack. He was a good fighter, he even felt sorry for killing him. Their clan had always respected the strong. And he invited him to join their clan. He said he would make him his #1 apprentice, and support him. He said his clan had many treasures and many beautiful girls too. All is so serene with you? Asked the boy to the demon. I heard that you work from early morning till late at night, that you eat and sleep in the open air, and that there is a strong and constant hunt for you. He replied that on your way to perfection you are killing each other, because you are only looking out for your own gain without thinking of others. Our cultivators do not have a lot of rules, and discipline is also lame, but the environment we have is single and relaxed. Main principle. The main principle is that the more you work, the more you get. The guy laughed back and said that they have all the working hours regulated. Besides, he's been there a long time and genuinely enjoys the time he spends there. And you want me to join you? Said the guy, and with his sword power leapt at his enemy. The blow was so strong that an explosion occurred. Brothers' apprentices didn't understand how their clan's entry-level sword skills could be so strong and powerful. The brother had worked hard for many years, so he knew in advance everything he would say to him. He dared to bullshit him, thereby condemning himself to these humiliations. The elder wanted to ask why he was so strong, but these were his last words. The boy decided to end it. But suddenly something happened that no one could have expected. The spirit left his body and started to fly away. And the guy didn't run after it to catch it. Well, it doesn't matter. The basic rescue mission was complete, he said. His brothers did not understand what he was doing. Why he was just letting him go. Since things had worked out that way. Why not keep chasing him? But one of them told them something they didn't know. He said the brother was practicing his 9-to-5 method. And now the time is up. And now it's the end of his work day and it's time to rest. What annoyed Hua the most was that every time at the end of the day he still had a lot of work to do. He is forced to work practically overtime. Eastern Wasteland. Qingyun Sword Clan. The warriors trained outside with their swords. They were training very hard. And they saw a guy lying under a tree, sleeping. They didn't understand how he could have been taken here in the first place. This guy came back after midnight, so he didn't get much sleep. If he had known everything in advance, he would not have been the one to put such heavy tasks on his shoulders. Up to this point, because of the incessant overtime work he was forced to do. They told him not to be lazy and to work until the last moment and not even think about quitting. But unfortunately, sooner or later it all comes to an end. Boss, I think he's dying. Call an ambulance. Quiet, save his project first, then the boss said to the ambulance. And I suddenly died, and found myself in this fantasy world. Here I'm just an apprentice of the Sword Clan. Everyone tells me that I should work harder. That I shouldn't get any sleep breaks. And they tell me to stay awake and practice more. They say they've never seen anyone so lazy. So as not to repeat the mistakes of the past, I will never work overtime in this world. Never. But unfortunately I didn't expect to stand out so much here either. Another apprentice approached the boy and told him that the elder was looking for him. He wanted to ask him about the details of yesterday's mission. You didn't say anything about me, right? He asked. No, of course not. He has already summoned us to talk, but no one has spoken a word about your actions and your power yesterday. Good, then I can rest easy. I'm on my way. Next time I have time, I'll teach you a trick or two. Thanks, brother. The boy went to the main hall. In this world, perfection is divided into 6 stages, from the lowest to the highest. Perfection of Qi, the realm of the spirit. Formation of the soul. The limit of the palace of the immortals. The purple palace. The ascent to truth. Each of these stages is divided into 9 levels. But there's also something more serious. A guy came to the head of a clan. He had the 6th level of ascent to truth. The strongest of this world was called the Qingyun Sword God. Good morning, elder. Don't forget where you are, said the elder. Nathan replied that the tea he had planted had been ripe for harvest for a couple of days. And the elder was very eager to taste it. He said it had been a long time since he had drunk his tea. Who'd have thought the sword god? Tea addict. The guy used his old knowledge of growing succulents and other plants to breed the best kind of tea. And this helped him build a good relationship with his elder. Elder asked, how was yesterday's mission? I heard from some of the returning disciples that it was you who saved them. Master, it was an accident. I took this from one of the apprentices of the other clan. The elder was very surprised. It was a blood pearl. Do you even know what it is? What they are? Before he could speak, the boy said he didn't know and he didn't want to hear, and he wasn't interested. If you have nothing else to say to me, I'll go, the guy said. The guy wanted to live this life without being free. And leave all the worries to someone else. When the boy started to leave, the elder stopped him. He shouted that the elder was talking to him. Even though you have succeeded in growing tea, as a true student, you cannot be so passive. May I ask why you did not take part in the sword training last week? I had to wait an hour before it was my turn. You know I have my principles in training, so please understand this guy. Because you skipped class, the masters came to me and told me to demote you from the apprenticeship. Did they really say that? Damn, the elder had spoken too harshly. The apprentice said that's wonderful. If he was demoted to an inner apprentice, no one else would pester him. He asked when will the elder finally demote him? The elder began to yell that there had never been any such precedent in the history of the clan. If you were to be demoted, it would be tantamount to slapping your elder in the face. Hell, I don't know that something so miraculous is going to happen, said he. Suddenly a girl walks in on them. She was their clan's #1 true student and a real beauty. Even in her early years she had made great strides in cultivation. From then on ranked #1 among the apprentices, she was called the future of the clan. Meanwhile, as a boy she ranked 55th, which is the latest. She started saying that tens of thousands of disciples work around the clock to become true disciples. Brother, So why are you willing to give up a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? The guy replied something that maybe she doesn't know, but he's been stuck on the Purple Palace for a long time. So I want to start as an inner disciple. I want to strengthen my spirit anew, break through the limit of the Immortality Palace and become stronger. As they say, repetition is the mother of learning. The girl replied that she did not think he would be so progressive and think so deeply about ways to improve. It was different from what she had heard about him from others. She said she was wrong. Her brother said what she said was too kind to her. The reason the elder called her to him was that several masters wanted to make a request of him. What kind of request? They want you to go on missions with her and teach the best apprentice about hard work. What? Are you making fun of me, elder? She's the one who has condemned the entire clan to her standards because of her hyperactivity. The boy was very frightened, saying that she and she were completely different and couldn't work together. The elder replied that she was the best pupil of their clan. There's a line to her every day for advice. And you get this chance, so what are you unhappy about? Yem, I'm just worried that I'm not good enough for this mission and that I'm getting in the way of my sister's improvement. The brother thought she wouldn't want him to get in her way. But she replied that he shouldn't worry about it, we are family after all. We should support each other and make progress together. And she said that the boy could use this opportunity to prove himself, and to destroy all the rumors that others were spreading about him. The boy turned to the elder, and said he was afraid that if he took part in the mission, his tea leaves would be left without his clear supervision. Elder even invited his sister to take part in the mission, but he won't back down from his principles. Why would he go with her when he can just lie here and get high? The elder thought it over and said that if he succeeds in this mission, he will give him 3 days off. The boy was very happy about this and said that he had to be informed immediately about the content and the place of the mission. He said he would go through the photo, fire, and brass trumpets. A quarter of a day passed. The sister worked very hard. And the brother was late. He said that if he didn't sleep again, he wouldn't have any energy. Sister said he should spend more time practicing. She got here in time to make 3,000 sword swings. And you happen to need sleep like the common man himself. You're too weak, she said. Ah yes. He couldn't understand why his sister grumbled like an old granny, and everything she said he let slip through his ears. He told her she was right, and he thought it was time for the bags and to double up on the training. And they set off on what do you think of this mission? The elder went to investigate the disappearance of people in the mountains. And this mountain range is right next to the sacrificed Qinyang. What he told me is that he suspects that the disappearance was no accident. His sister told him that she thought so too, and that given his level, she would protect him. He thanked her. The boy thought she seemed like someone he could count on. Made friends with her, and he gets 3 days off. Yeah, I hit the jackpot, thought the lad. They arrived in the mountains. The girl told them to start by asking the locals about everything. The kids started counting. 5 4 3 2 1 0. Time was up. The boy quickly went to rest. He said he was leaving it all to her. And left for town. He went into the inn and said he needed a room. He was told the room cost 1 silver, so he gave it to her and went to his room. Even after he saw that there was something wrong with the guy, it didn't matter as it was the time of rest. All the rooms are occupied, there are no seats, master, there is clearly no one here. Why are you doing this to me? The boy really did fall asleep. That was the voice he had heard before. My sister wanted to rent a room for 2 silver marks. But she was told there was no room. The boy said that she had been told there was no room and that she should not torment him. Said, could my little sister sleep in my room? Yes. The girl wondered. And they went together. Right, we're not doing anything I'm ashamed of, are we? Besides, I'm much stronger than him, and I can stand up for myself. Her brother asked her if she'd had dinner. She said no, and they have to abstain from food in order to harden the heart. Only when your heart is strong can you. Before he could finish, he put the biscuit in her mouth. She liked it very much. It was a pastry that was sweet but not greasy. It melted into her mouth and had a slight tang of color. But she shouted, "How could you sneak up on me with this pastry?" "Very tasty," said. "But such food is of no use, so it's better not to eat much of it." "Sister, have you ever wondered if it's possible to walk in 7 steps, avoiding 5 vegetables, 3 colors, and the mundane?" "No, again no. You and I are walking there for the world. Even with great desire can one walk away from cardits from everything in the world. Blind avoidance will only tire you out physically and psychologically. You will be afraid of everything that makes it difficult to practice. Well, is it possible to practice without renouncing human desires? How does one practice like that? I think that real monks are not afraid to face and experience temptation, as in the case of this ice cream. If you're afraid of the taste disturbing your mind too, you should try to get used to it. When you learn to treat it as something quite unusual and yet remain indifferent, that will be your first step towards real practice. Only with a pure heart can you see the truth. Only the truth will help you to manifest yourself. Whatever happens, you will feel like a fish in water. Free, naturally. Thought he'd said too much and her brain was overheated. She said she understood. Only by facing desire head-on and then abandoning it can we return to our true nature and know the DAO. Sadly, she didn't understand anything. Hell. Brother went and told sister to sleep on the floor tonight. She said it's okay and she won't sleep. She's just gonna sit and meditate. Now don't blame me, said the mystery character. Suddenly a strange aroma started wafting through their house. The sister woke up and shouted that it was poison. She started telling her brother to run away. At this time the guy who had poisoned them came to his master. He began to tell him that the apprentices of the Sword Clan had been knocked off their feet by the scent of a broken spirit. According to legend, it was an elixir that could bring the dead back to life. One of the apprentices, it was the best apprentice of the clan. The identity of the other was unknown to him, but she called him Brother Hua. What? I didn't expect you to beat the best apprentice. And as for this brother, I've never heard of him, must be someone insignificant. The guy who poisoned them said that he couldn't detect him, it's like he used some kind of talisman. The boss said he did a great job this time. The guy asked how his wife and kids were. He was told not to worry, they were alive and well. He wanted to take him to them. He thanked him and suddenly the Lord fired a death ray at him which killed him. The last victim, it was about to end, he said. He told his servants to go to the inn and capture those 2 Sword Clan apprentices. At this time the sister woke up and saw that her brother was sitting beside her. She got up and immediately freaked out, thinking she had to run away as there was poison everywhere. She didn't understand why he was all right, he should have passed out before she did. Her brother replied that when he slept, unlike her during meditation, he used his spiritual power, so the scent of broken spirits had no effect on him. He had to be still for a long time for the scent to dissipate and you came to your senses. In fact, it was almost impossible for a monk below the 5th level of the Purple Palace to resist this poison. Brother had told sister that her social experience was too little and she would have to be more careful. If she poisoned herself on the mission, it would be very bad. The consequences would have been disastrous. She thanked her brother for saving her and said that she would be discreet in the future. Throw away that politeness. Better have some tea to warm you up. She bowed and said thank you. Rumor had it that he was just a common slacker. She had never expected that he would not only say a few words to her, but that he would reveal the secrets of perfection. All this time he's been so attentive to everything, even saved my life. Wait a minute, what am I thinking now? Maybe he's got me 3 dots. She thanked her brother for his work and said she was fine. That's great. Suddenly a very strong glow appeared in their room where they were sleeping, from which the disciples began to appear. The sister shouted that it was the killers, and the brother said that since it was better for you, he would give the opportunity to her, as his working hours were over. It didn't matter, and so the sister thought the 2 were much stronger than his brother. If he got involved, there would only be more trouble. She still thought it was no coincidence that they came here. They were apprentices of the Purple Spirit Clan. The girl didn't understand what they were doing here. Their eyes are literally bloody puppets. Their souls were consumed by magic, turning them into mere gutless puppets. It was the magic of a sect of demons. The disappearance of an entire village, it was their doing. Their power was equivalent to the 3rd or 4th level of the Purple Palace. Sister began to use her sword technique, the clouds shattering the moon. She directed all her power at them, thereby splitting the light of the sword. At this time the brother was lying there with his eyes closed watching his spirit. He said because she split the sword light, her strength was definitely reduced. It's much more comfortable to watch the fight this way, not even having to open your eyes, he said. But it looked like the two were certainly not going to give up so easily. The two of them were still talking to each other, they didn't seem to have fully become puppets, there was still a trace of self-consciousness, and they had already swooped down on her. They came at her with all their might. But the girl fought back. Could she wield such a weapon? What kind of power did the girl not understand? Her hands went numb and she could not move. The girl was saying that it was about to end, as expected of the best student of the clan. In such a short time, she has had time to study her opponent. Even though they are on the 4th level of the Purple Palace, they are just puppets now, their minds sealed off. Therefore they can only fight with their instincts. However, the brother realized that the sister was unaware of the danger. When her sister turned away, a very strong light strike was directed at her. But luckily she repelled it. What he now did was a very strong blow. If one missed such a blow, the injury would be very serious. Suddenly a green light began to appear and someone came to her rescue. He killed them all, thereby blocking their spiritual power. When the sister returned to her brother, he was lying there, saying what he had been saying all along. The sister did not understand who it could be, who could help her. She wondered, she said nothing. I think too much. After all, with his level, could he have done something like that? Sister was saying that while the spirit of these guys is still alive, they should hurry up and bring them back to the clan. They should ask the elders to purify their hearts and know the evil formation from them, so that they will no longer be puppets. But then the members of the demon clan will run away and do their dirty deeds elsewhere. Oh well, for the sake of the common people. And 3 days off, the brother thought. He said it looked like I was the only one who could do it. My sister didn't understand what he was trying to do. I will use my divine intuition to penetrate their minds and banish the formation. Parrot, are you out of your mind? Do you even know how to penetrate the soul of a true monk? The slightest careless move can lead to the total destruction of the soul. Don't worry, sister. But she was very worried as he wanted to convert them from puppets at the same time. It was dangerous. Saving a man is like putting out a fire, the sooner the better. He said. He got into their souls and it seemed to go well. The two men woke up. The brother and sister greeted them. They were grateful that they had saved them. What they said was that they had been captured by an elder of the demon clan. Tell us how it all happened, brother said. A week ago Pharaoh and I went here on orders to investigate the disappearance of the villagers. We sat there and discovered that a demon clan elder was using the blood of the villagers as a sacrifice. They suppressed our consciousness, we didn't think we could turn into mere puppets. They thanked them for saving us. Sister told them not to thank her, the man who saved you was Brother Hua. They thanked him and said that they would surely pay back that debt. He had just managed to free 2 people at once from the curse of the bloody puppet. Usually this spell affects the deepest corners of the mind. Getting rid of it without hurting the person is like finding a needle in a haystack. Not even all elders managed to get rid of it. She was very surprised not to understand when her brother had managed to master this technique. The brother said that he used to spend his time in the Sutra Pavilion, and accidentally came across a fragment of a practice scroll for manipulating spiritual thoughts. He found it quite interesting, so he studied it. FRA. A fragment? Not even a whole scroll. Brother, you are playing with fire. To save you, you don't need to use resources and artifacts worth practically 30,000 high-class spirit stones. His sister thought what he must have had just happened by accident. She didn't understand where he got that many. She did not understand how he got so many, and she said that we will make it up to him as soon as we get back to the clan. She was surprised as he really agreed. It is now accepted that a formation of heart cleansing and destruction of evil, capable of dispelling the spell of the bloody puppet, requires at least 50,000 stones. 30,000 was just that, as a matter of friendship and to his own detriment. The guy asked them if they could remember the details of how they were captured. His name is Mo Xian, his fighting power is not great. I would have handled him on my own, but unfortunately he is very good at using formations and poisons. That's exactly what we got caught up in. My brother said he had a special elixir that would make them immune to poisons for 3 hours. Are you sure you can handle it? If we are immune to the poison incense, we can beat him to death in minutes, they said. They asked why there were 3 of them. Aren't you coming with us? In fact, it took too much spiritual power for me to save you guys. I'm afraid I'll have to sleep to recover, said brother. We're so blind, we can't see your hard work, brother. Well, get some rest. Leave everything to us. The lad said what he would count on the 3 of them. He gave them an elixir and they set off. They said he had to believe it was a magic elixir. It melts in the mouth like an ordinary pill and is no different. Not that I didn't trust him, but his level of perfection was very high. Suddenly my sister stopped and said that there was something wrong here. But she was told there wasn't a living soul here. But suddenly a voice started coming out. It turns out that you are in my territory, and suddenly there was a swamp in front of them. They didn't understand where it came from. It seemed to them to be the parts of dead creatures that had been massacred here. Their sister asked them if they had seen the man who had just spoken to them. A guy in a black cloak appeared behind them. Looking for me? How did you manage to get rid of my curse there quickly? He did not understand. It seems that the best apprentice of the Sword Clan has secret treasures. He didn't understand why there were 3 of them. Was one frightened when he found out he was behind it? It's because I can deal with a dummy like you myself, said the girl and ran at him with all her strength. She angled to try and hit him with all her might, but it turned out she had fallen for his trick. It was an illusion. Even though you are the best students of your clans, you are still fools. He began to let the venom fly all over the air. How do you like the smell? But since they had the elixir they didn't react to it. And when they tried to hit him, he disappeared. He appeared in the air and started saying it's all useless, you can't escape my poison. He said it only takes 10 breaths and they're already his. He realized something was wrong and there was another girl missing somewhere. She came around behind him and hit him when he wasn't expecting it. He flew off into the ground. Why the poison doesn't work on you he didn't understand. The brothers' elixir was very strong. Resistant to its tricks, it would help them deal with all the members of the demon sect. This poison was even stronger than the previous one. Even if they held their breath, it would soak into their skin and nothing but its antidote would be able to dispel it. I wonder if they have secrets of their own. But do you think this is the end? No, the game has just begun. He began to use the bloody flames of the celestial formation. They didn't realize what was happening. The bloody puppets of the 6th level of the Purple Palace began to emerge from the ashes. The demon was saying that they would not return today for sure, including the coward who was hiding in the village. The demon sent a 2nd puppet who had a level 5 Purple Palace on him. Damn, the brother's in danger. When the boy was asleep, the demon started creeping in through the window. But when he entered his room he did not see the boy there. But the guy didn't want to work overtime, so he laid down in the next room. But the puppet realized this and broke into his room through the wall. Can't you go back if you don't catch me? Do you really have to involve me in this? The boy asked him. At that time other apprentices of the Sword Clan were fighting the puppets. They tried to attack them but they could not hit. So he launched a force wave at them. It was so strong that the brother flew away and seemed to die. The sister was really pissed off. But unfortunately this guy is so strong that with his endless regeneration, they'll just run out of steam in time. The girl said she had a way to wipe him out. But it would take time to build up strength. She asked for some time to be bought for her. The sister agreed and went to distract. The demon said that if you have any trumps up your sleeve then use them. This was the masterpiece of his collection of bloody techniques, which was very powerful. "You're all dead." At this time the lad was saying something that the elders must not find out about. He just wanted to sleep in peace, no need to make any noise. "And if you don't, I'll give you something in return," he said. The boy tied him with his light ribbon and sent him off to heaven. He still had some time left to rest. He decided to go and see if there were any rooms available. He needed to get some more sleep. In the meantime the girl was distracting the demon, and she didn't understand why this bloody puppet was only getting stronger and stronger. The demon was saying that if she was still holding on then she wasn't called the best student for nothing, but it would be over soon. The boss launched the puppet at the girl and she with all speed began to fly, but during the flight came a second puppet that killed her. The demon was very angry, he didn't understand what the second puppet was doing here. How is that possible? Great, there was nothing wrong with Brother Hua. They thought that one of the elders had come. Could it be the elder of the Sword Clan is here? That's the problem the demon was talking about. He started maximizing the bloody puppets. At this time the sibling had built up her power and began to attack the puppet. She used the violet shadow technique, from which there was a massive explosion. My brother was already awake, went to the window to get some air, saw the explosions through the window and said it was some kind of explosive day. Looks like Sis and the others have been fighting all night long. And this elder really isn't that simple. That blow must have killed the puppet. It was a secret technique. The accumulated breath power explodes in one breath. But the flaw in the technique is obvious, too much energy was expended. This time they only succeeded, thanks to Yi's sister, and her brother survived. The demon was very angry. There's still more to deal with. 3 bleeps. You've practically destroyed number 1, which I've spent decades building. Unfortunately, the sister's spiritual power was almost depleted after she struck. The demon said they would be buried here today. The Sword Clan's sister began to fly to kill him, and everything in this world stopped and went silent. It was very strong indeed. The demon began to launch new force waves. It was aiming for a previously punctured breach. The demon did not expect it to have the strength to do such a thing. And the demon began to form a huge ball of blood. It was no good, he wanted to use a secret technique. Damn, it looked like he had sealed the acupuncture points to release spiritual energy. And the partners started turning into puppets. The demon told them to grab it. You may be talented, but you're like a little child in front of me. You will be my first victim, the demon said. Your blood will make a beautiful offering. Forgive me, Elder, your best apprentice has been defeated by the devil's spawn. But then Brother Hua suddenly appears and tells him to let her go. He doesn't understand where he came from. Could he be the same elder who killed number 2? Sister told him to run away as he is weak and will not be able to overcome him. The demon said that since you came on your own, I'll start with you. When the demon started to attack the boy, he snapped his finger and shouted, "Destruction!" The demon began to collapse. No one understood how it was possible. The demon was saying that the blood puppet formation he reactivated was several times stronger than the normal one. No matter how powerful you are, it cannot be dispelled so quickly. He was told to stop talking nonsense and was attacked. Brother Hua, what is going on here? What exactly did you do? The guy said it was just a little trick. When he extracted the bloody seed from them, he found that his rhizome had struck their souls. I was afraid of damaging them, so I only extracted the seed. Which meant that you could still be manipulated at any time. So I left a few strands of the sword in your mind. And so as a bottom line. As soon as the Blood Demon Clan Elder tried to activate the seed again, the thread would foil his attempt. At a critical moment, this could completely turn the tide and change the course of the battle. They began to say that they admired him. His sister asked why he hadn't told her about it. If the whole plan had failed? You have succeeded, what is the point? Please don't think that you couldn't have done it without me. You're the man who can defeat a demon clan elder. Really? If he'd told her about it, her acting skills would have been enough to fool a blood demon. Right, would we have been able to take him down that easily? Looks like it. The girl looked at him and realized that despite his low level, his wisdom, strategic thinking, and discernment were developed magnificently. The boy wondered if he could get the job done sooner or later. Suddenly the demon started making waves. It looked like the guy was still alive. I knew that early leave sounded too good to be true. Looks like it was his bloody brainchild. The guy didn't know what he was doing. The sister started using a secret sword technique. But it was too late and the demon's formation was complete. They were advised to retreat as their strength was at its limit. The brother told them to go first and he would catch up. He didn't understand what he was waiting for. Ha ha ha. You want to get away from me? You miserable insects, I'll show you the power of real poison. And the demon caught them as their powers ran out. This guy was invincible. He was absolutely on level 5 of the Purple Palace, but now it looks like he's on level 8. Shit, is he really just going to massacre them with his bloody formation? It looks like he absorbed all his puppets. The demon said that number 1 and number 2 were the best in his collection. And he didn't think they could overpower them. It was very unexpected. Even though number 1 is much stronger than us, but we could handle number 2, they said. But now the 3 of them were one. Ha ha. The demon said that I, too, was a victim. He's the one who forcibly raised the bloodthirsty soldier. What kind of soldier? The brother started counting, no one understood what he was doing. 5, 4. It was written in ancient books that demon warriors first appeared 10,000 years ago. Countless decent people were beheaded, and most of the land became owned by the demon clan. Only when the 5 clans were able to band together to oppose them were they able to defeat the armies of the demon clan, and put an end to this catastrophe. 3. The guy was counting. The demon said that the boy had witnessed many things. He had seen blood being spilled, souls being taken by force. All this helped shape warriors like this demon. 2. He said that today they had the honor of being an offering for his bloody formation. What? What's that sound? The Hua guy opened the mirror and said. Well. We'll have to work. Overtime. Overtime? What are you talking about? Didn't understand the demon. I'm saying it's your dying hour. The boy began to use his secret technique that allowed him to free himself. He told the others to hurry up and leave, the rest was up to him. He told his sister that she should get out as soon as possible and protect the village. She asked which of the elders had defeated puppet number 2. Call her quickly. We can't do it by ourselves. 1. Thanks to this formation his strength has increased to at least level 8 of the Purple Palace, so even with a concerted effort we won't be able to. Brother told them not to worry. It will all be over soon. The demon didn't understand what had just happened. His level doesn't seem to be accurate enough. Boyfriend. What trick did you just use? The demon didn't understand. Ha ha. You think I need tricks to overpower you? That's when sister and the others flew to the clan. They didn't understand how they could just take him and leave him alone like that. Does he really know a way to deal with him? With his level, that demon would easily destroy him with one blow. Her sister didn't know, but she trusted him. After he left the mountain, all his decisions were correct, and more than once had saved a life. They flew to their clan and sister quickly began to make a castle of heavenly spirits over their clan. Then the guy said the demon could attack. He didn't understand what was happening now. He laughed at the fact that the guy thought he couldn't handle him. Brother began to say that if you have any other tricks up your sleeve, he should use them as soon as possible. Because there won't be another chance. The demon began to unleash some very strong blood waves. He used a bloody halberd strike, but it didn't do him any good, because after that blow the guy didn't have a single syrupin left. Is that all? Asked the guy. The demon was angry and didn't understand how come. All of his blows were unsuccessful. He began to summon demonic light from the heavens to earth and use his invincible power of 10 blades. The disciples watched from their clan at all these explosions and outbursts and were very much surprised. They were worried about their brother. Brother began to say what he had already told him. It's not so easy to master a skill to its fullest. What good is your skill if you can't control it? The demon was in shock. He thought he was asleep and everything was a dream. It was impossible. You think how I, a mere perfectionist, can stand up to you so easily? It's quite simple here. It's all about the fact that I have sealed my realm. I never practiced in front of other people for fear that if they found out about my true level, disaster would be impossible to avoid. Besides, it was not appropriate for an apprentice to boast about his skills. All the while the demon was trying to hit him, but to no avail. The boy continued. Because the higher your skills are, the more problems fall on your shoulders. So as not to make my life more difficult, I had to hide my strength. The demon was saying that he was a real madman. The boy was telling him to stop. Should I let you go? You've interrupted my rest time after time. You hurt my comrades, thus forcing me to start work early. You shouldn't have come here, said the lad, drawing his sword. This is an unforgivable sin, said the guy, and used his Qingyun sword technique against the demon. The demon flew off into the ground. And his trident remained in the air.